Sambuddhaya. Namo Ratnatraya Namo Arya Jnana Sagara Bhairocana Bhiyura Jaya Tathagata Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Namo Sarvatathagata Bodhisattva Mahasattva Mahakaruni Tanya Om Dhara Dhara Dhiri Dhiri Kusume Kusuma Namo Ratnatraya Namo Arya Jnana Sagara Bhairocana Bhiyura Jaya Tathagata Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Namo Sarvatanagataaya Bodhisattvaya Mahasattvaya Mahakarunikaya Tadyatha Om Dhara 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 Namo Ratnatraya Namo Arya Jnana Sagara Bhairocana Bhiyura Jaya Tathagata Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Namo Sarvatanagataaya Bodhisattvaya Mahasattvaya Mahakarunikaya Yudhivaya Jale 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 Brasale Brasale Kusume Kusuma Namo Ratnatraya Namo Arya Jnana Sagara Bhairocana Bhiyura Jaya Tathagata Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Namo Sarvatathagataaya Bodhisattvaya Mahasattvaya Mahakarunikaya Tadyatha Om Dhara Dhara Dhiri Dhiri Dhara Dhara Yudhivaya Jale Brasale Brasale Kusume Kusuma Vare Dimele Jale Mamalaya Namo Ratnatraya Namo Arya Jnana Sagara Bhairocana Bhiyura Jaya Tathagata Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Namo Sarvatathagataaya Bodhisattvaya Mahasattvaya Mahakarunikaya Tadyatha Om Dhara Dhara Dhiri Dhiri Dhara Dhara Yudhivaya Jale Jale Brasale Brasale Kusume Kusuma Vare Dimele Jale Mamalaya Namaste and greetings everyone. Greetings from Nepal. Sorry for this spontaneous live on a Facebook, but I would like to express my gratitude and thank you for everyone wherever you are watching from. Thank you for joining this kind of a spontaneous live teaching. And I have shared two videos earlier about the Wheel of Life, the part 1 and part 2. And I would say this is also a kind of a part 3, but in the part 3, I wanted to go live, and so that we can have a little more interaction about the teaching of a Wheel of Life. And I think I shared earlier that why did I choose the Wheel of Life teaching is because Wheel of Life teaching, the paintings that I showed before in my earlier video, it is one of the fundamental sort of design, and it is said that it is believed that it was designed by the Buddha himself, the Wheel of Life design. And so before I share the teaching, I would like to take a moment to remember and be grateful for our parents. So let's everyone take a deep breath, and let's be thankful for our parents, first of all, our first teacher of this world. So our first teacher of this world is our parents. So let's be grateful and let's be thankful. If they are present, if they are alive, also be grateful. If they have passed away, still pay grateful and gratitude to their kindness. I think in the Eastern philosophy related to the Buddhism and Hinduism, paying respect to your parents first is considered a very primordial sort of practice, spiritual practice, because you might visit this sacred place and that sacred place, which is, sacred place are a lot of places. But if we are not paying gratitude to our parents, then it's like we call it it's not worth it. And I'm sure, even in Nepal we have some conflict about, people do sort of disrespect their parents, and many things can happen. But in the spiritual practice, when you are in the spiritual journey, when you want to really, when I say a spiritual journey, it means if you really want to be happy, because there is the two kind of happiness. One is a relative happiness and one is absolute happiness. And to give a little bit example, what is the relative happiness? It's like drinking a salt water. The salt water, drinking a salt water, meaning that no matter how much you drink, the thirst cannot be fulfilled. Whereas if you really drink the actual water, then what happens is, it can help to fulfill our thirst. And so even in the spiritual practice, there are different sort of sections. And so even in Nepal, there are people who disrespect their parents and all that thing. But if you really want to be happy in your life, first of all, it is very, very important to be grateful for your parents. That's the first thing I wanted to share. And second things I wanted to share is to be grateful for the elements, like the fire, the water, the earth, the space, air. So let's be gratitude. Take a moment, to be grateful for all the five major elements. We consider space as also part of elements because we are, coexist. The space exists because of the earth. This is the coexist thing. And everything have a space. It says everything, even in the tiny little atoms, have its own space. So space is also part of the elements, that is akas. Also it is nice to be grateful. And I think tashdale lomla ani so when we produce a sort of intention of a gratitude in our heart, what really happens is it creates some kind of a harmony. This is not just this scientific, the spiritual thing. Sometimes people say it's a religious things and so on. It is a scientific thing that when we are positive in our body, meaning that when we are grateful, when we produce the intention, the motivation of the gratefulness, our body produces this sort of hormones. Whereas if we are like negative and not like angry, the body produces those energies. So we are creating our happiness and suffering all the time. We're creating all the time. And after taking, being grateful for your parents and the elements, it's also very important to be respected to all the teachers, enlightened masters in many different traditions we have. In many different traditions we have enlightened masters. And so let's take a moment to be grateful for all the male, female, and non-gender teachers in the world who are showing and who have showed and the path of connecting divineness within. It is very important also to be grateful for all the different teachers, because I'm not saying that only there is Buddhist have a great teacher or Hindu have a great teacher or anything. I think in my opinion, in my practice and in my understanding, there are many different teachers in the many different traditions. So let's be grateful for that, for their kindness. And the Wheel of Life teaching. First of all, I would like to also request everyone to write down the place where are you watching from, so that I know how far this video have reached. And so the Wheel of Life design, it is one of the fundamental design, as I mentioned earlier in my previous video, and even in this video I have said that is one of the fundamental design, because Duar Riduk, it's in Tibetan, Duar Riduk. So there are these 6 realms we have. And also I wanted to just put that when we say Om Mane Padme Hum mantra, that we have heard many times, the Om Mane Padme Hum. If we say Om Mane Padme Hum, this is 6-syllable mantra. six-syllable mantra, also representing that when we chant this mantra one time, it is also wishing that may all beings, including ourselves, may we all be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. And how do we really be free from suffering? Because it is said, like, is it really possible to be free from suffering? And the path is, yes, it is possible to be free from suffering, but before that you have to recognize your Buddha nature by understanding these fundamental three nature that we have inside, that is kind of covering, which is anger, ignorance, and sort of pride or jealousy, which is greed. So these things are kind of covering and not not allowing us to recognize our true nature. And so sometimes we might be curious about who is really covering, who is really blocking you. So firstly, you might think, oh, maybe that thing or this thing or that thing. You might think that oh, that thing and that thing is blocking you. But in reality, it is you, it is me, it is us that is blocking our clarity, that is blocking our happiness. So in Buddhism, it is said that we took more responsibility. We take more responsible of our happiness because, for example, in the U.S. we had a in the U.S. there we had a government, we had an election, and somebody won, and so there's a lot of expectation that this new government will sort of fix many of the problem. And I'm pretty sure there are some people are happy, and there are some people are not happy with the change. And what I'm really trying to say is also, do not expect that the government will make things better for you and government will fix everything for you. It might fix something, but still you have to take more in charge, like taking care of your own carbon footprint, taking care of your own sort of creating thinking. That's why Buddha himself said that Buddha cannot really take you to the enlightenment, and no God in the world can take you to the enlightenment. You yourself have to walk on walk on that path. I think even there's many different traditions, they do say that the God will not come and fix the problem. It is us humans. Like, for example, the God is not going to come and fix our problem. I think it is important to take more take more responsibility of their own cause and effect. And I think that's for that reason I have shared this Wheel of Life teaching, that talks about more cause and effect and dependent origination. Because everything that we are doing, we are also getting something directly, indirectly. And I think now it is more making sense that we are more connected in many different ways, because even physical, like economy and with many different things, we're all connected in so many different ways. And so if you are really in a good state, a good condition, please do send prayers for those who need. I think that's what the metta prayer means, which means loving kindness energy. And I think the Wheel of Life, the fundamental sort of teachings on that is to take care of your own cause and effect, like your action in your daily life, and find a place where you can actually create the sacred place within yourself. Because I think in my previous video I shared about the Buddhahood or Nirvana is not outside, it is inside. So for that reason, this is more I think the teaching on my Wheel of Life, the last video, about third part, about the fundamental of the Wheel of Life teaching is to recognize that three positions that we all have. I might be I have beard and wearing malas and shawl and things like that, but inside that you cannot see, that we cannot see, inside we have these emotions like anger, greed, and ignorance. And how do we transform those emotions? Is by the compassion, by the generosity, and by the wisdom. These three things, by practicing these three things, we can transform those the sort of not useful emotion, because anger, I think overall it's not useful, as we all know. I think only the Mahasiddhas, the great yogis, they can really use the same anger, which is like turning the garbage into compost. And I think we all have that quality, but playing with the fire, it can be very dangerous, and also it can be very risky. For that reason, I think it is very important to just take care of your action right now, whatever you do, and try to transform. And the anger usually doesn't come like with a lot of notification, like on the Facebook or email or anything. The anger comes like super instant. It's like you never know where the anger is coming from, and sometimes you never know where it is gone. It's like there, and suddenly something happened, and suddenly something gone. The anger and this jealousy, this sort of emotions, it doesn't have really source, so it comes and go. So where it is creating, I think it is creating from your own body, with the many different elements, with the confusion, with the like a lot of things we do in our life. And where does it dissolve there? And how do we transfer is by compassion practice. That's why I think it is important to practice the generosity. Generosity is the fundamental key to to transform this greed and ignorance, all these different elements. So I wanted to also share with you, everyone, that do you have any question related to the Wheel of Life teaching? If you have, please do share. I think if you have seen my previous video of the 2 video of a Wheel of Life, and I wanted to also interact, so I wanted to ask if you have any questions about the Wheel of Life teaching. So please do write the comment, and let me know if you have any question. So it looks like we don't have any question right now. Question about the Wheel of Life teaching. So next time I will go live and also let everyone know that I'm going live. For now, thank you everyone for joining this kind of a spontaneous live. And I hope that everyone, wherever you are in the world, taking care of yourself and finding them, finding sort of practice that suits you, that connects your higher self, and sending my prayers to everyone. So Om